Let's see if I can get through this one without breaking down. So, week 4 was created with Tatiana in mind. As some of you may recall, she had left a comment on one of my videos about her using the Day Designer daily as well as the weekly version. I thought it would be fun to try and set up a Day Designer lookalike weekly on my comment planner. In order to replicate this, I did use some of the common themes that the weekly layout has in here. So one of those is these top 3 boxes over here, even though I assume they're more for like 3 main focus items. I decided to divide these up into one section holding my top 3 tasks for the week, a second one just additional highlighted tasks, and then the last box was just for me to either journal or quote, but I left it blank at the end. Underneath, the weekly setup kind of starts. So in my case, I decided not to replicate this section exactly as the Day Designer. If I'm not mistaken, the Day Designer has a notes section on the left, and on the right is a checklist with your little boxes so you can write in your tasks. Now, I knew that there were additional things I wanted to track on my weekly and that I was going to use some space. So instead of writing everything across, I only am using the day section as the left side. So where I'm putting these date stickers right underneath is where I'm going to write down the tasks that are assigned for that day. And then on the right hand portion of that section, I will go ahead and write the weekly tasks that I need to get done or weekly things that I want to keep track of. So you will see that my sleep tracker will fall into one of these boxes, as well as my weekly to-do list and the exercises that I want to complete. So they're not necessarily for that particular day. It's just that I used the sections to divide up different things that I wanted to keep track of. The stickers that I used on this layout are actually still from the same Peaches and Pine Studios sticker kit. And my Amore Rose Studio little girly there, Gigi, that's her actual name, by the way. I'm not giving her a nickname. But anyways, for the color scheme, I picked up all of the stickers that were more on the gray scale from the original sticker kit. So even though this is still from the same blush pink, dirty pink tone that you've seen in my previous week, it looks so different because I only gathered the grayscale looking stickers, but they're actually all from the same set. Now, I did incorporate some additional leftover stickers that I had, so all of the florals that you see on this spread are actually from either my Happy Planner stickers or previous Planner Kate stickers that I had purchased. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually pretty proud with the end result of this one. I managed to fit everything that I needed in, so that made me really happy. And when I was done putting it all together, I thought I was going to have a really good week, but that didn't happen. For any of you who do believe in premonitions, let me just share that I could not find my will at all at the start of this week. The week prior, I had gotten a really good kick out of preparing my February monthly pages, and it got me so excited because of how well this first month had turned out for me. Or so I thought. After 4 gloomy days of absolutely zero sunshine, I was really having a difficult time getting out of my mental slump. I was taking care of my responsibilities, but not really trying for any more than that. Just getting by. I'm sure some of you can relate with that sentiment at times. Anyways, Tuesday. things really changed for me that day. My father had a stroke, and time just seemed to freeze for the next couple of days. The effects of a stroke are very much a waiting game. You need to allow time to pass to see how much damage was caused during the incident. I think that's the most difficult part, just not knowing and not being able to do anything either. As y'all know, I'm a newbie mom. I barely completed my first year with my girl, so I can't retreat or shut down during these type of situations because my daughter really depends on me, and especially as her primary caregiver. However, I did find myself just tucked away in the corner of my mind in my own fear and grief and getting things done, moving, but not socializing. And what helped me realize that that was occurring was that my daughter would literally, she got to one point where I could see that she was looking at me straight in the eyes and she was talking to me, expecting me to talk back to her. Because overall, I'm very social with her, and I hadn't caught on of how quiet I was being because, again, I was so lost in my mind. So that really did help for her to really focus on making eye contact with me and talking to me. Helped me snap out of it and be aware that I had to come out. I had to come out of my grief. Interesting enough, I had actually been, not too long ago, looking up information, psychological help for people who have been going through loss, just to help out someone else in my life. I was looking up that information to see what could be helpful for them. And part of the things that I remember from a short interview I was hearing was that loss doesn't necessarily have to be of someone passing away, that it could also be the loss of something. And that's what I was really focusing on this occasion as I was trying to pull myself out of just that misery and grief. That, just putting it out there, my father actually turned out to be cognizant. So he is conscious. He can talk to us as well. So that's great. Half of his body, however, is still paralyzed, and that's what he is struggling with. But again, we're very grateful that he is mentally there and that he can verbally express to us his needs, concerns, and wants and thoughts. And then again, he has the other half of his body that is still mobile, so he can still do a couple of things for himself. And it was a little hard for me to bring into words why I was feeling the way I was, because I try to be a very positive individual. And I was glad that the essence of my dad is still there. Like, the person who he is still there. I can still talk to him and he can still talk back to me. And that is something that I feel counts for the whole world. The fact that we still have that communication there. So then the question comes, it's like, well, why are you so sad then? Or at least this is how I'm trying to rationalize it, right? That's when that interview came back into my head, that, grief can also be because of the loss of something. And I think I was grieving for my father because I knew that a part of him that we had come to know and regard as, who he was, had also been taken away, which was this very strong independent man who's always like there to help, and we have to temporarily, I like to say temporarily because miraculous things do happen, but for the time being, this is his new version. And I think I was going through the mourning of the physical capabilities that he once had, as well as the grief of knowing how this new stage would be difficult for him. Now, this is not just me trying to be positive. I truly do believe from the bottom of my heart that every stage has its up and downs, and there is no doubt in my mind that he will make undoubtedly beautiful, happy memories, even in the current state that he's in. But I will not be naive enough to think that it's going to be easy and that it's going to actually require for all of us to input and to help him out, right, during this new stage that he's entering. So it was a very emotional and a lot of thought-provoking, not only for like my current emotional state, but also just future planning of in what ways I could help, and by I also mean like myself and my family, where we could best be for him in this new setting. For anyone else going through an emotional, devastating low or just something difficult, I will share that the two things that helped me out the most, obviously, yes, having my family, my husband, my daughter, everyone just encouraging me and helping me feel better. But external things aside, just internal things that you could do for yourself is that I dedicated more time to journaling. So just writing out my feelings, everything that I felt exactly the way I felt it, even though if it felt just too even sad or overwhelming to write down on paper, just get it out. I think the equivalent of writing out those feelings, it feels the same like a good cry. like that kind of sobbing cry where you're breathing in with your mouth from how hard you're crying. Like it provides a similar relief of just writing all of your feelings out onto paper. And then the second thing was that, and it may sound a little corny, but working out. And that was something that I really tried to stick to, because I already felt terrible. I already was in a terrible state, and I was hoping that by working out, at least my body would still be quote unquote physically healthy, even if I felt devastated. So that was kind of like the mentality that I went into it. And surprisingly enough, during the workouts, I found more relief in being able to cry easier. Maybe it was because of the pressure from the movements or whatever, but it did facilitate that for me. So I continued working out. I cried as much as I needed during my workout, and it really did help me push through the day. I got additional energy. You know, the grief is obviously still going to be there, but scientifically speaking, those extra endorphins that did get to my body by me being active helped me push through the day in a better sense, because I felt that my session of being sad and crying had been taken care of, and it was easier to see the light in the day, just to see the sunshine and actually smile, because I had given myself time to get out the grief and the sorrow in a healthy way. So that's just a little tip. I'm really going to make the following little weeklies a lot more boosted up in mood, but this is just the current circumstances that I'm in, so it's hard to do a happy-go-lucky voiceover if you're not in that state of mind. But we're making progress, and I've got a really good family unit, and I hope you guys enjoyed this time with me. And I can't wait to see you here for the next one. Bye-bye.